The president's support for Senator Luther Strange was not enough to tilt the primary race in Alabama yesterday. Roy Moore, a firebrand conservative and former state Supreme Court justice, beat Strange by nearly 10 points to secure the Republican nomination.
President Trump campaigned for Strange, but he congratulated Moore in a tweet, urging him to win in December. The president has also deleted at least 3 tweets over the past 2 days in which he voiced support for Strange.
Let's bring in Jordan Fabian. He is a White House correspondent for the Hill, and he joins us now from Washington. So, Jordan, how is the White House reacting to this loss for the president's preferred candidate in Alabama?
Well, Vlad, the president, you saw publicly almost do a 180, reversing himself and saying he's all on board for Roy Moore in December. But behind closed doors, the president is frustrated. He thinks he got some bad advice from people like Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who convinced him to support Luther Strange and go down to Alabama to campaign for him. And look, this is obviously a president who doesn't like to lose, and he's a little embarrassed, I think, that he put his name and reputation on the line for this candidate who was beat pretty thoroughly in this GOP primary race.
So we've been calling Roy Moore a firebrand candidate, but this is a guy that makes Luther Strange actually look sort of liberal. He has suggested that homosexual conduct should be illegal. He has suggested that Muslims should not be allowed to serve in Congress. Can you explain to viewers the type of politician Moore might be in the U.S. Senate, and also what this might mean for the Republican Party?
Honestly, I think he's going to be a rogue senator. He's not only has he made those controversial comments about issues of race and sexuality, he said that he doesn't really intend to follow the lead of Mitch McConnell. So, if Mitch McConnell is depending on holding this together, this 52-seat majority, to pass major legislation and advance the president's agenda, he might not be able to count on Moore. And that really makes the margin even thinner for Mitch McConnell to get things done here in Washington.
At one point, Jordan, as you know, the president tweeted that he hopes that Moore defeats the Democratic challenger in November. He corrected that tweet when he realized that the actual election was in December. What are the chances for Roy Moore to actually win that Senate seat?
Look, I think there is a good chance that he wins the Senate seat, but I wouldn't call it a guarantee like I would maybe a generic Republican nominee in a state like Alabama. A lot of people in Alabama are turned off by the things that Roy Moore says. He's been around in state politics for more than a decade, so people down there are very familiar with all the controversies he's courted. But that being said, it's just a very uphill climb for a Democrat to win a Senate, statewide election in Alabama.
So meanwhile, Jordan, the president will be traveling to Indiana. He's going to pitch his tax reform strategy. And one of the things is that he's seeking to slash the corporate tax rate from 35% to 20%. That's what he's put out there in speeches and all. But we're also getting reports that perhaps he's actually pushing privately for an even steeper cut. What are you hearing?
Well, it's been no secret that all along the president has wanted a 15% corporate tax rate, but Republicans on Capitol Hill decided that wasn't feasible, and they didn't include it in this outline that's going to be released today. Now, we could obviously see the president, if he gets frustrated with the process and the policy, renew that fight. But right now, the White House is pushing full steam ahead on this, with the president going today to Indianapolis. I'm told that the president is also going to visit some other blue states that he won in 2016 to push his plan and pressure some Democratic senators who represent those states to get on board with this plan. I think there's a recognition that this plan isn't going anywhere without Democratic support, so the White House is going to do all it can to try to get it.
Jordan, let me ask you this. Is there any concern that all of these battles the President of the United States is fighting with the NFL, the Republican leadership, the media, the Russia investigation, North Korea, and on and on and on, are they going to make it already a very uphill climb for the president when it comes to this tax push?
Absolutely, Vlad. You talk to people in the Senate, you talk to people in the House. they'll tell you that it's frustrating for them when they're trying to push big legislative issues to hear the president go off and talk about things like the NFL and the anthem protests. This happened before, in one of the previous healthcare pushes when the president was publicly attacking his own Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, in the middle of trying to convince his former colleagues to pass a healthcare bill. Again, they want the president to be focused on the single issue. They want him to be focused on tax reform. Today, he's going to Indianapolis. He's going to be giving a speech on tax reform. We'll see if he stays on message the entire time.
I know. If I was a betting person, I'd ask you what the over-under would be on him staying on message. We will see. Jordan Fabian of The Hill, thank you so much.